Hello and welcome to an all-new Max Chroma tutorial video. In this video, I'm going to be getting into the Max Chroma Photo-Tessellator 2022. It's been a few weeks since I made my latest video about the Photo-Tessellator hybrid rip techniques that's available in the $5 pattern pack. And now I'm going to start showing some of the things that are in the master pack of the Photo-Tessellator 2022. If you were on my payhip.com/maxchroma website, you would see this product here listed right there, and it's for $50. For this $50, I'm going to show you all the things that you get, and especially in this video, I'm just going to go over this main action file that's now available. I happened across this actually not too long ago, and I really thought that I needed to include this in some way in this product. And the thing is it still needs some work, and I've got to basically update it continually. But that's the thing when you buy any of my products, is you get the updates that I make to them for free perpetually. So even if you buy this now, any of the updates I make to the actions and the other files included, you would get for free anytime I update that download. You could just go ahead and download it again. So I'm going to show you guys what you get when you were to purchase this Max Chroma Photo-Tessellator 2022 Master Pack for $50. Okay, and so you'll get these two zip files now. One of them is the master pack, and one of them is a zip file that just contains the actions and the patterns of this main new functionality. Okay, and so in the Photo-Tessellator 2022 folder, it's got this actions file and this patterns file, and so you would need to load both of those. And in fact, in my Photoshop, I think I currently have two sets of the patterns loaded, so let me go ahead and just delete those and show you what you would need to have if you start from scratch with no patterns loaded and no actions loaded. So I've got both my actions panel open here and the patterns. So there's that folder here. Now in the other folder, the master pack, there's a whole bunch of other things that are like these smart object files and some additional actions that go with them. And then there's these, the LPI calculator, a whole bunch of other stuff, but we're going to get into that stuff in future videos. This main action is sort of like the flagship of this new product release. And I want to show you guys how this works, and along with the patterns that you'll load. And now you can sort of unlock some all new capabilities just working with images directly, converting them to halftones or other types of patterns. So let me show you what you do. You just basically load in the action or the patterns file here, and now the patterns are loaded right there. And then you take the action file and just drag it in right there. So the actions are loaded and the patterns are loaded. I can just close the patterns here, and I can turn this actions into button mode, and I can sort of look at all this in the way that when I click on it, it's like a button. So now I'm just going to start with a simple type of file as an example. And I just want to make this video kind of short and to the point and show that this is some of the new power and capabilities of this Photo-Tessellator 2022. And I'm going to get into it in all sorts of videos. I've been really excited to show this going forward. So one of the types of files I wanted to get into is something like this sort of vector file example. And I'm going to open this up in Adobe Illustrator, and this is a file that's in CMYK. I'm going to convert it to RGB mode and then save it that way. But this file, if I was to look at the colors that it's made out of, I could do add used colors and then scroll down here and see that there's a whole bunch of different colors, and they are global swatches. So I could start trying to take this art and change the colors around, but I would be dealing with all these different, hundreds of objects and the different gradients and other things that these files are made out of. And so while it's vector, it's also a very complicated file when you look at it in that way. If I just change this color mode of this document to RGB, and then I were to save this basically as an RGB Illustrator document, it'll import a little bit better when I go into Photoshop and bring it in as RGB. I could convert it in Photoshop from CMYK also, but I like to kind of import it in RGB. So I'm going to go to Photoshop, and I'm going to basically bring that file in. I could see if that works, or I'll take the one that's converted to RGB as well. We'll just drag this in right here. I'm going to say RGB color. Now the important part is the resolution and the size So if this was something you were going to be printing, for example, I might make this 11 inches wide and make the resolution up to about 1200 dpi. Now you need to have a fast and good computer with a lot of processing power, a lot of RAM to handle this. But just then as an example, I wanted to show you guys the power behind these actions and how it works now with these new pattern files included. So you just rasterize this image in. Now all of that vector stuff really just converts into a flattened image when you rasterize it like this into Photoshop. And because I chose 1200 dpi, it's going to take a little while to process this first part of importing the artwork in vector and then converting it all to raster. But I also wanted to show that this is possible with this kind of approach now. And so here's the artwork loaded in, and I'm just going to check that. I can look at image size here, right there, 11 by 8.8 at 1200. Or I could also press this button and look at it that way. And anytime you cancel an action, it'll make the action red until you continue it, or you just click one of these gray actions here and it'll make it prepared to run again. So looking at this file, it could be made out of a whole bunch of different colors. And how am I going to just convert it into different halftones but still control the number of colors perhaps? And that's one of the most important things to me in some of the work that I do with printing, is you want to convert these things into what you could use as printing plates or screens, but you also want to keep the number of colors down. So in this new Photo-Tessellator 2022 action, you could just start off with this first action right here, the Photo-Tessellator Sharp. And you're just going to hit OK for this pattern new layer. And here's where you could choose the size of the dots that you want for this conversion. And in that other file right here, the LPI calculator, that could come in handy. So I'm at 1200 dpi. Let's say I want to do like a 65 LPI dot. So I'll do about 29%, 28.8. So I'll go right here and make sure I do 28%. Oops. And don't change the angle, because I've developed a new method that runs a lot faster for these actions, and it'll essentially use the conversion of the canvas into the angle that you want for the dots. That way this also works in other previous versions of Photoshop, like 2014, and not just the 2022 version. So 28% or 29% is what I'm going to go with. And I just do no for the angle, and later I'll choose the angle. So right here, I'm just going to let it be 22.5, and you're going to have to hit it twice, enter, and then enter again. Okay, and that sets the angle of that dot pattern. Now, the next step is basically it's kind of merging this together and then going to a special kind of index mode, and we can choose the number of colors in this conversion, and I've got it sort of preset for you. You don't want to have the transparency on, and we're going to talk about transparency in other videos, and you don't want to force anything just yet. We can turn the preview off and then see that artwork again. And we want to have the options for matte to none, dither to none. And now we can set the number of colors, and we can also choose this palette method. Let's keep it on adaptive for now, turn the preview on, and let's just set this to 2 colors and hit tab. You can look away there. So this is automatically converting the art, and if I click on the move arrow here, I can basically zoom in and out using my scroll wheel like I normally do. We can see that this is automatically converting the art into halftones, and they're interlocking between just 2 colors, but it also can be turned up to 3, and this is sort of automatically picking the colors, but I can choose them myself. And we could say 4. Now it's using this sort of yellow color right here, along with the red, white, and black. And so it includes the number of colors, includes the background color here. And let's go to 5. So that added in another type of red, and so probably added in a yellow and an orange and red now. Yep, it's like a darker red to do some of that fading to the background color. But you really do have control over this. If I turn the preview off, I could go to custom, and I could say I want like a maybe just like a brighter red, or eyedrop the red from the image. Maybe choose this white color, the background, something like this brighter yellow, and maybe a gray instead of the orange. Okay, we'll just set that to a neutral gray, like about 50%. Hit OK, hit preview. Now I'm converting this automatically into those colors. And if I just hit OK to this when I'm done, okay, or I could add more. I could make the orange be part of that as well. Let's sort of add this color in here. Maybe the brighter part to it, right in there. Okay, preview. Yeah, that gives us a little bit more of it. Now I hit OK, and I'm basically in a mode that under index mode, I can change any of these colors to white and the rest to black to make a positive or a separation. So do I want this gray as these halftones at 65 LPI as a separation? And I could just basically convert all of these to white, the orange to white, and then here's the gray, convert that to black. And I could print this. Just hit OK and hit print. So some of these other things aren't necessarily built into the actions where it's going to do add printing things for you. But I have other actions that allow you to make registration marks and other stuff where you could turn this into a print file ready to go. But that's so easy to just, set this mode right here. You can do edit color table, and I can convert any of these. If I go to RGB mode, it looks a little bit better like that. Now let's undo and go back a little bit. I can essentially have this pattern and this layer right here before I convert to the index mode. And what's happening is it's just really layering this halftone pattern over the image. When we go to index mode, that's when we're converting to the number of colors. So I can undo, I can make some adjustments right here, and I can also go back to index mode. So let's hit OK, let it merge the layers. And then we're going to choose maybe, you see it can actually kind of reproduce all of it, but that's too many colors at around 10. And so I might want to go lower like this, or start up at a higher number of colors. Just hit OK. And then I can go to the color table, edit the color table, and maybe merge some of these colors myself. Say like, well, these could all be just like black. I don't need that stuff there. Convert that, the background. This could be white. Maybe this gray, a little bit more like the middle gray or lighter. And same with this gray. Maybe convert those two grays together. Make sure both of those are black. This right here. And maybe this red I would bump up. And this other red would get rid of. This one, I don't know, I think I might get rid of this one too. Or just leave it for now. Hit OK. We'll go back to RGB and reindex exact. This sort of just merges what I've done. And I can check it again with the color table. So I can go here and see if these two reds, I just want to make sure they're the same. Right there. And maybe make them a little bit darker. Change this orange a little brighter. Same with this yellow. And I don't know, one of these reds, I still think it's kind of nice that it's brighter like that. Okay, this one we can make darker. Maybe we'll merge these two together. So let's make sure the grays are the same. If you drag and select both of them, it's a pretty quick way to merge colors. And that's it. So I'll now just go to RGB mode again. I can do index and make sure I do exact. It's the same as clicking this button, RGB, and reindex exact. Okay, it's down to 8 colors now. I'm going to open up the color table again and just check. I think it's these two that still need to be merged. So this darker red. I'll just set this to like 0 and maybe 40. Same with this one. 0 hue, 100% saturated, 40 bright. It's like 102 in the red. Make sure that's the same. Hit OK. And then I can do RGB and re-index exact. So I wanted to see how you could also start with more colors, merge it down manually yourself. And now I've got something that is just, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus the black, in the background. You could make that, let's say, the shirt color or the background color. And, let's zoom in and see. And this is basically really high quality, already halftone interlocked color separation. And so the power of the Photo-Tessellator 2022 is just, I don't know, it's beyond anything I've accomplished so far or achieved or figured out. And it really is just quite a simple trick, but using these pattern files that I developed where you can now layer the pattern over the whole image, you can now do those kind of things like go into, let me undo here, you can have these layers over the original image. And you can do all sorts of stuff with it where you fade it out and then maybe go converting, do some adjustments and convert it to index. So, this isn't necessarily like you're purchasing $50 for a secret or a special thing that you can't accomplish on your own. I'm going to show manually how to do this stuff in some future videos. But I wanted to show just how powerful this is. And this is just the first action in the set here. You can do custom colors of 1 color, 2 color blending together. Using the index mode, custom colors 3, 4, 5 together. I'll get into that in future videos, as well as certain blending modes like the HSB, HWB, overlock. All this stuff is really awesome, but I want to save it for future videos. The first action in the set right here, Photo-Tessellator Sharp or the soft one, I'll show you that one as well. Let's just hit OK. And I'm going to choose a 29% dot. And I'll let the angle just be 22.5. So I'll hit enter on that each time it pops up. And then with this one, it's essentially going to do more of the dots are blending with each other. And so the interlocking the dots aren't as sharp. And so it's why it's labeled softer. I can keep it on this local adaptive mode. And even at 5 colors, I mean, this looks really well, like really cool. I just think it doesn't have the gray. You can check by going to custom and see what it's actually pulling here. We could try to maybe not pull that darker red and just pull like a brighter red and maybe an orange, brighter orange, and this white, and then, add the gray perhaps. Hit OK. Uncheck preview. We'll check it again. See how that works a little different. And maybe go back again, make this red a little bit brighter. And you can really, so that actually worked really good right there. I was able to make sure it wasn't using too much of that red in the gray area because the red was darker. Now it's using the red that's a little bit brighter. And so the amazing thing is this is just converting it into interlocking halftones all in one step. And this is, to me, like something I've been trying to achieve for years and years with all of the other methods that I've approached. And the point is, and I'm going to show this in other videos with this, like you could try to pull 1 color at a time and try to make those separations or screens all work together. But this technique of doing it all in one step is truly the best approach I've seen yet. You can now take these and convert them in any way you want. So I'll just hit OK with this one. And now I can edit the color table, make that yellow brighter if I want, and make it any color I want. Set this black background here. And so I've been working on some other methods, like actions that could convert this already to just different layers. And, maybe you have to do this part manually for now. But I'll also make sure that I work on stuff to update this and make it even easier. So maybe it just converts all these things and divides it into documents or layers. I've already tested some actions like that, but the whole thing is I kind of had to get this ready in a 1.0 version and then release it, show you guys how this works for now, and then we can work on all sorts of other possibilities in future updates. So let's just go ahead and keep looking at this here. And I've got this gray. Let me hit OK. I'm just recoloring it basically. I can go back to RGB mode. If I duplicate the document perhaps. You know, when you're looking at this stuff, zooming in and out in Photoshop. And again, this version, the softer Photo-Tessellator, you can see that it sort of blends those dots together a little bit more where they interlock. And I'll show you guys how you would extract these as well. You go back to this and it's RGB mode, or if it's in RGB mode, you just do index mode exact. And I can go into, when I'm in index mode, just go up to the color table, or go right here in the action set, edit color table. And let's pull out the red separation. So let's just take all the others, drag along and just set them to white, hit OK and OK again. And then let's take the red and just change that to black, hit OK. I can print it like this, or I could go to RGB mode and print it like that. You can view it, you can see how it's a separation in these halftone dots at 65 LPI, 22.5 degrees, all interlocking with all the other colors. So I'm going to finish this video here. I can't wait to show you guys all sorts of other examples. This is just truly insane how it works. This is kind of a generic piece of artwork, but I wanted to show you how you could use it somewhat professionally, not just for doing artistic stuff. But you know, the point is this is not a set of actions that are built to automatically make it like you can just, you know, print these things. It's the best way. You should do it. It's going to work right out of the box like that. But for me, this is the fastest and the best approach in combination with being easy that I've found yet to achieve what is something you can go ahead and work with and print and just have the artwork already sort of separated into these halftones. And it's really fun in all these other artistic ways too. Some other examples I might show in future videos would be all these custom color approaches. You can still use this to do, you know, fun recolorings. Like let's say you were presented with this art and you just didn't even have 6 or 7, you know, colors you could work with. Going to this, you still can look at it under fewer colors. So let's just do this, 29, or maybe we want to do a larger size dot. Let's look at that LPI calculator again. Maybe we could do 45 LPI, and that's 42% in the scale. So I'll set this to 42. Keep it at 22.5 degree angle. But you can still change that angle to anything you want. You want to just enter it in both settings. And then when we go to this mode, I could just say, let me look at this in, you know, 5 would be maybe 4 colors over the black being the background, like the shirt color. 4 still looks really good. So it's just the red, the lighter orange, yellow. And again, I can change those, go to custom. Maybe I want to see using like a brighter yellow and a brighter red. And, you know, just let that be for the others. Okay, it looks really good like that. And sort of compresses it a little bit, but that's okay. And, you know, I could just hit OK. And here we go, like duplicate this image. Go up here, edit color table, make all these white. Make that black. We could duplicate this again, and it's still in index mode, so I could just change the color table again here. White for this, black for the next one. That's just the background, so maybe I'll keep this. There you go. And we'll duplicate it again. Edit the color table, make this black, this white. And let's say you're going to do something like an underbase for it. So let's edit color table on this one. We would really just have this be white and this be white. Okay, and then just maybe go to everything. We could cut it back to, if we wanted, you can go to RGB mode. And now these are just dots, and it's all, there's no anti-aliasing, so you can just select all this with the magic wand. Go in here, select, modify, expand by 1 or 2 pixels. And you just fill that with black. Okay, you might even have made an underbase for all of that. Right here, just invert the entire thing, print this. You just have to add the registration marks around it. Maybe I'll show that in future videos, and we'll add that into this action set. But I've got all sorts of other actions available on my PayHip webpage. Lots of stuff for free. So I think the registration marks actions are available in the Max Chroma Color Blender and Halftone Tessellator. I'm just going to show you guys a lot of more examples. Like this thing is, I can't even explain how fun it is to go into any kind of art now and extract it into 3 or 4 colors, right away. So let's just try this again. We can do it in artistic mode, so you can just choose any kind of colors you want. Let's just do this again, like here, and I'll just hit OK. And even though down in just like the 3 or 4 colors, it was still kind of pulling it very realistically to what it was. We could just change this to like 3 color. So it's just going to be 2 colors in the background. And I could let this go and then recolor it. Or, I could test it out and see what happens if I just change this color a lot to like a green. And this one to like some sort of purple or something. And so it still does it, recolors it instantly into those colors. And, this stuff to me, it's just, I can't explain how awesome this is, but I'm going to show you guys in more and more videos, because now you can go in and it's just really, really easy. You could take the artwork someone's given you and maybe automatically show them in just 2 or 3 colors with the screens. And it's already basically just blending together. You could generate the right type of other overlays. You can layer these different things together as halftone screens, build up color separations for printing. But again, this is kind of like an artistic approach that also achieves a lot of other things professionally, almost unintentionally. But to me, this is some of the stuff I've been after for years and years. And it kind of interlocks the halftones. It gives you all these things together all at once. It's actually a lot harder to go into certain artwork and layer it all with custom separations being pulled out individually, and you don't even see how the halftones create that final print. So this stuff to me is the next level. It's really like a game-changing sort of situation here. So I can't wait to show you even more examples of this in future videos, and we'll get into how all these other buttons work in the next video set for the Max Chroma Photo-Tessellator 2022 release. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for future videos.